Hello, and welcome back to Voyage of a Time Wanderer. Today I am here with my summer vacation book shopping vlog and haul. So recently my husband and I took a little road trip to my hometown of Victoria, British Columbia, and stopped in to see family in Vancouver and Victoria, and I thought it would be fun to make a vlog while we were traveling, showing both our summer vacation activities and the various local bookshops that I visited while I was there. I took a poll over on my Bookstagram and the majority of you wanted the book shopping vlog and the haul in one video, even though it's going to be fairly long. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have two different timestamps that I'll put down in the description. I'll have one timestamp if you want to just skip straight to the book shopping part of the vlog if you're not curious to see my other summer vacation activities. I'll have that timestamped, and then I'll have the haul timestamped as well in case you want to skip ahead to the haul, or if you're only interested in seeing the haul and not the book shopping vlog, you can do that. So this is the stack of books that I got while I was on vacation, and I'll have the haul for these books at the end of the vlog portion of this video. So without further ado, welcome to my summer vacation. enjoyed watching my summer vacation activities and book shopping. It was so nice to be able to go home and see some family that I haven't been able to see in a long time, and it was just nice to have some relaxing time outside of our small town, because thanks to the pandemic we really haven't had too much opportunity to travel in the last 18 months or so, so it was really nice to just be somewhere else for a little bit. Anyway, I will go through my book haul in the order of the bookshops that I visited. So the first bookstore I visited was Bolen Books, and I got 2 books there, both of them non-fiction. So the first book that I got is Blood of the Celts, the new ancestral story by Jean Manco. And I'll read the blurb here. Jean Manco took a broad interdisciplinary approach in her work, integrating the very latest research in DNA studies with archaeology, history, and linguistics, to delve into the deep history of Europe and its peoples, bringing new and often controversial conclusions to a wide audience. She had a particular interest in archaeogenetics and what they can tell us about migrations of people in the past, which came to fruition in Ancestral Journeys, the peopling of Europe from the first ventures to the Vikings, and the origins of the Anglo-Saxons, decoding the ancestry of the English. So it sounds like this is her third book on kind of similar deep genetic genealogy topics, and this one obviously is focusing on the Celtic peoples. It does look a little bit textbooky inside, so we've got lots of maps. At the end of every chapter there's like an overview that has the main points bullet pointed out, and then boxes throughout that kind of dive deeper into some of the genetic issues that she's talking about. A kind of family tree of Y-DNA haplotypes, but lots of interesting pictures of artifacts, some tombstones that she's decoded, burial history. In the past year and a half or so, I've gotten really interested in diving more into the genetic side of genealogy and DNA research in general. So I think I'm going to really enjoy this book, and if I do, I'll definitely be picking up her 2 other similar works. And I'm very curious to learn more about the Celts, and I'm very interested to know what genetic genealogy and genetic archaeology tells us about their past. And the other nonfiction I got is this beautiful book of saints. I know you're probably thinking, Chelsea, don't you already have 2 or 3 books of saints just like this? And yes, I do, but when I flipped this open and saw all the beautiful artwork, stained glass, old art, I just had to have this one as well. So, what day are we on today? September. So, it's basically every day of the year has a page, and it has a saint, a little story, a picture of them, and then some basic kind of biographic information, what they're the patron saint of, their status, the date they were born or died, which churches venerate them, so is it the Catholic Church, the Orthodox Church, Coptic Church, Anglican Church, etc., when or how they were canonized, and then different symbols, like if they're always shown with a quill or a dove, etc., and then kind of a little prayer or meditation based off of that saint. So definitely looking forward to adding this to my collection of saint books. It's just so beautiful inside that I just had to have it to even have out as like a coffee table book. Then the next bookstore that we went to that you'll have seen was Munro's Books, and I got 4 books there. They actually have like discard books or something. Like, it had a very big clearance sale section, so all of these actually are from the clearance section, and some of them were clearanced even further. Like, this was $7.99 and then it was 50% off $7.99, so it's like $4 and it's originally $24. The first one I got was Bruno, Chief of Police, a novel by Martin Walker. This is the first book in a mystery series set in France. It says, meet Benoit Courage, aka Bruno, a policeman in a small village in the south of France. He's a former soldier who has embraced the pleasures and slow rhythms of country life. He lives in a restored shepherd's cottage, shops at the local market, and distills his own vin de noix. He has a gun, but never wears it. He has the power to arrest, but never uses it. Most of his police work involves helping local farmers, his friends and neighbors, to avoid paying European Union inspectors' fines. But then, the murder of an elderly North African who fought in the French army changes all that. Now Bruno must balance his beloved routines with an investigation that opened wounds from the dark years of Nazi occupation, and he soon discovers that even his seemingly perfect corner of La Belle France is not exempt from his country's past. So I'm definitely always on the lookout for more kind of cozy, atmospheric mystery series set in interesting locations, and I thought this one might fit the bill. And then the next book is Medieval Women, Village Life in the Middle Ages by Baer. This one, I mean, the cover is just beautiful, and it has a recommendation on it from Philippa Gregory, which kind of stood out to me. And at first I wasn't sure if it was nonfiction or fiction, but it does appear to be fiction, and kind of uniquely, it's got each chapter is a different month, so we really do go through the whole year in the life of this small village. We've got a cast of characters that's 3 pages, which is always a good sign. And then we've got a little set of maps of the village here. Let me read the back. A year in the life of a peasant woman in medieval England is vividly evoked in this extraordinary portrait of Marion, a carpenter's wife, and her extended family. Rising before dawn in a tiny village to a day of grueling hard work, Marion and her husband face the daily struggle for survival without many of the things we now take for granted, with starvation never far away and travel to the next village virtually unheard of. Simple people living unrecorded lives in remote villages are brought back into focus in Medieval Women. Baer's unique and very human approach to history, based on years of research, brings to life a world that has been lost. So I love history books that focus on kind of more daily life social history rather than major events. So I think this book is going to be excellent, and I'm very excited to get into it. The next book that I got is nonfiction, and that is A History of Scotland by Neil Oliver. Isn't that cover beautiful? So the blurb for this is on the inside flap with all these beautiful Scottish imagery on it. It says, Scotland is one of the oldest countries in the world with a vivid and diverse past, yet the stories and figures that dominate Scottish history, tales of failure, submission, thwarted ambition, and tragedy, often badly serve this great nation, overshadowing the rich tapestry of her intricate past. Historian Neil Oliver presents a compelling new portrait of Scottish history, peppered with action, high drama, and centuries of turbulence that have helped to shape modern Scotland. Along the way, he takes in iconic landmarks and historic architecture, debunks myths surrounding Scotland's famous sons, recalls forgotten battles, charts the growth of patriotism, and explores recent political developments, capturing Scotland's sense of identity and celebrating her place in the wider world. So I do have a number of Scottish branches in my family tree, and I do feel like I have a bit of a gap in my knowledge of specifically Scottish history. I feel like a lot of the Scottish history I know is more UK history rather than Scottish specific history, so I am very interested to see what this book has to say. It's got a number of inserts of photos and paintings and whatnot of different, I guess, famous Scottish people and Scottish events, and it looks like it's written in a fairly approachable manner. So when I next get around to diving into my Scottish family tree, I think this will be an excellent book to accompany my research. And then the last book I got at Munro's is The Endless Forest by Sara. This book sounded super interesting, and then I got home and I found out it was number 6 in a series of like 800 to 1,000 page books. So I really hope I like this series because I do want to get to this one. Luckily, when I looked back on my Goodreads shelf, I did actually have the first book in the series marked as to read, so it is a series that has tweaked my interest before. I saw it compared to Outlander, which I've never read, but I think it's kind of the same epic historical romance series. I got sucked in because I saw at the beginning it had a beautiful map and a family tree, which are things that definitely always interest me in a book. I'll read the back of this one, but possible spoilers for earlier books in this series, I don't know. In the spring of 1824, in the remote village of Paradise on the New York frontier, Nathaniel and Elizabeth Bonner celebrate a glorious reunion as their children return from far-off places. Lily and her husband from Italy, and Martha Kirby, the Bonners' ward, from Manhattan. In the peace that follows a devastating flood, childhood friends Martha and Daniel, Lily's twin brother, suddenly begin to see each other in a new light. But their growing bond is threatened when Martha's estranged mother arrives back in Paradise. Jemima Southern is a dangerous schemer who has destroyed more than one family, and her anger touches everyone, as do her secrets. Has Jemima come to claim her daughter, or does she have other darker motives? Whatever transpires, Martha, Daniel, and all the Bonners must stand united against the threats to both heart and home. So we'll see if I end up getting to this book ever. I obviously have like 5 other books in this series to get through, so this one will probably be a few years away, but the premise sounded really interesting, and I always love multi-generational kind of books, so it does appeal to me. Then the last bookstore that I went to was Russell's, and Russell's is a mix of new books and used books, and I got 2 books there. The first is The Ape House by Sara Gruen, and this is actually a used copy, but I love the cover with all those botanical leaves all around the edge. And this is by the author of Water for Elephants, which I have never read, but I've heard good things about. The back says, 6 extraordinary bonobos who know sign language, a scientist who understands and likes animals more than people, animal rights protesters who liberate the apes right into the hands of an unscrupulous TV producer who produces a reality TV show which becomes the biggest phenomena in the history of modern media. Who will save the bonobos from this parody of human life? So one of the subgenres of books that I do really like is like animal-centric fiction, and I have always had a love for the great apes, so I think this book will be very interesting. When I was younger, I really enjoyed researching into apes learning sign language, so when I saw the back of this book, I knew that it would be a premise that I would find interesting and hopefully a book that I'll enjoy. And then the last book that I got at Russell's isn't really a book, it's more of a puzzle, I think. It's called Dubious Documents by Nick Bantock. And this just looked really interesting, and I thought it would be a fun, like, winter days activities. The back says, Dear reader, you hold in your hands a folio containing 16 illuminated envelopes, each containing an illustrated document. Within you will find a riddle. Diligently examine the artifacts inside this enigmatic anthropology of blurred time and place and decode the message that was passed down by a 15th century ancestor of mine. Crack the conundrum and you will find an answer that may well change your thinking for a long time to come. Good luck, Magnus Berlin. So the premise of this basically is there is this fictional character who has a message that has been passed down from his ancestors, and then each page has a little envelope, and inside the envelopes, if I open the first one here, inside the envelopes are like fake historical documents that you have to examine for clues, and then decode the riddle that this person's ancestor had passed down to them. So basically I got sucked in, obviously, by the ancestral connection, and it just looks like it would be fun on like a cold winter's day to sit down and flip through all these beautiful pages and try to figure out if I can solve the mystery. So these are all the books that I purchased on my little summer vacation book shopping adventure. I hope you enjoyed watching my vlog, and I would be curious to know if you have read any of these books that I've picked up, which one I should prioritize getting to first. Right now I'm feeling like Medieval Women will probably be what I pick up, but I'm also intrigued to get to another mystery series soon. As the weather turns more fallish, I definitely find myself craving mysteries. So until next time, enjoy wandering through the pages of a good book. Bye.